What's up, sports fans? Today is August 10th, 2022. My name is Chris, and you are now rocking with Bets with MC Silly. In today's episode of Third and Long, I'm going to be talking about 3 college football win totals that I'm going to be playing this year out of the Big 12 Conference. The first win total we're going to be talking about is the TCU Horned Frogs. The Horned Frogs entered this season with a win total sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over at odds of minus 150. The Horned Frogs are a bit of a crossroads right now. Long gone is longtime head coach Gary Patterson, a 21-year coach with the program, and in comes Sonny Dykes, who has already done things completely differently through spring ball. Dykes has inherited a bit of a QB headache this season, which could be a good thing given that both quarterbacks are highly touted. Will he go with a highly recruited prospect like Chandler Morris, or will he give the ball to the stalwart Max Duggan, who has 29 career starts under his belt already? Despite how differently Sonny Dykes has done things through the offseason already, I believe Duggan is the right choice for the newly appointed head coach. As I mentioned, Duggan is a senior who has started 29 games for the program and has beaten Texas already twice in his career. He comes into this season on the heels of a 2,048 passing yard campaign with 16 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. He has a ton of supporting weapons at the skill positions, perhaps none more important than running back Kendre Miller. Miller is coming off a season where he ran the ball 84 times for 623 yards and 7 touchdowns. Defensively, this team is going to feature a new defensive coordinator in Joe Gillespie, and the scheme will move to a 3-3-5 as opposed to Patterson's 4-2-5 formation. It'll be interesting to see if the Frogs have the personnel to pull off this adjustment seamlessly, or if there will be a steep learning curve for the program throughout the duration of the campaign. If we look at their schedule, it does them no favors. Sure, wins against Colorado and Tarleton are fine and dandy, but at SMU isn't a gimme, neither is at Kansas or at West Virginia. Texas and Baylor on the road are likely losses, and a regular season finale win against Iowa State is on the cards. My ranking has this team finishing at 6-6 at best, and we're getting plus money on the under. Give me the under 6.5 wins at odds of plus 120. The next season win total we're going to be talking about is that of the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks entered this season with a win total sitting at 2.5, shaded to the over at odds of minus 130. It's no secret that the Jayhawks have been the laughingstock of the college football landscape for quite some time. Since the year 2012, the Jayhawks own a 23-118 record, which includes 2 winless seasons. You have to go back all the way to 2008 to find the last season the Jayhawks finished with a record above 500. So the plays automatically bet them on the under on their season win total, right? Not so fast. The Jayhawks entered this year with the 10th most returning production in the FBS, which is usually a stat that indicates that the team is ready to take the next step forward. The problem for the Jayhawks is any step forward is a monumental achievement, considering how bad they've been over the last handful of years. The key players for the Jayhawks this year on offense will be quarterback Jalen Daniels and running back Devin Neal. Daniels looked really good after being inserted into the starter's role for the final 3 games. He managed to throw for 860 yards and 7 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. Behind him, Devin Neal will tote the rock, and he put up a respectable 707 yards and 8 touchdowns on a 4.5 yards per carry average. Defensively, this team was ranked dead last in all major defensive categories in the Big 12 last season, but they do return a handful of senior starters, and sooner or later they're going to find a way to stop somebody. Schedule-wise, this is where the Jayhawks have a bit of life. Tennessee Tech stinks, as does Duke. Iowa State has no offense, and Texas Tech has a Swiss cheese defense. Those 4 games, unless they can spring an upset against K-State, will determine the season win total for the Jayhawks. It might be a dumb bet, but give me the over 2.5 wins here at odds of minus 130. And finally, the last regular season win total we're going to be talking about in the Big 12 is that of the Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners enter this season with a win total sitting at 9.5, shaded to the under at odds of minus 120. We already know about the loss of Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams to USC, but what's really going to be their downfall this year is their inexperienced defense. The Sooners only returned 3 starters on that side of the football, and new defensive coordinator Ted Roof is going to have his hands full trying to plug and play players with very little game experience. Offensively, this team is going to rely on quarterback transfer Dylan Gabriel from UCF to do the heavy lifting for the team on offense. Gabriel is coming off a season where he threw for just 814 yards and 9 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. They'll have a good receiver to work with in Marvin Mims, who needs to have a breakout season this year for the Sooners if they are to compete with the big boys this season. Mims finished last year with just 705 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. If we look at the Sooners' schedule, the first 4 games should be wins before going to TCU and then facing Texas in the Red River rivalry game. Kansas should be a win, but then Iowa State, Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma State are all close to call. By my projections, this OU team is one slip away from an 8-win season. I don't see how they get to 10 wins this year. Give me the under 9.5 wins at odds of -120. That wraps up this edition of Third and Long. Let me know down in the comment section if you agree or disagree with any of the college football win totals we just discussed, or if you have any personal win totals you're going to be playing out of the Big 12 Conference. If you want more college football content throughout the month of August and into the football season, drop a like and subscribe. On the next episode of Third